Today we're taking a look back at the classic LEGO Star Wars Anakin's Y-Wing Starfighter from 2009. Given set number 8037 with 568 pieces, it cost just $60 upon release, but today, sealed in box, you can expect to pay around $300. This one has gotten rather expensive, despite not having any unique minifigures, with Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka, and R2-D2 really as bland as they come, but the value in this set really comes with the Clone Wars variant of the Y-Wing. The Y-Wing being one of my favorite ships in Star Wars, and this maybe being my favorite LEGO rendition that isn't one of the UCS versions. I love this thing, and I definitely see the value in just having this ship, and I think a lot of other people are in that same boat because LEGO's never remade a Clone Wars Y-Wing, although it seems like they should, given Captain Rex's Y-Wing, which is basically a blue version of this, has been very prominent in Star Wars media over the last few years. Captain Rex, obviously a popular character, but there's still nothing there from the LEGO Star Wars side of things, and so this is still the only Clone Wars Y-Wing. Real quick shout out to the Psychopaths that put Anakin and Ahsoka's hands upside down holding the lightsabers, and then put the lightsaber hilt upside down on the back of the box. Anyway, inside of the box, the bags are unnumbered. You get a cute little sticker sheet, and I still haven't figured out why Darth Vader randomly appears on pages, but not all of them in sets like this. Anyway, this is the page I really wanted to see, all that summer 2009 nostalgia on the right. The first minifigure is the Clone Wars Anakin, and the thing that pops out the most about this guy is his eyes. They are just very big on these Clone Wars figures, as people have pointed out throughout the years, but it definitely matches the animated style of Star Wars The Clone Wars, and I have always had a real deep nostalgic love for it. Some people are really put off by the bug eyes, but they aren't something that bother me. I really actually like them for the style that they provided for Clone Wars specific characters. The rest of the characters standard for the time as well, including the lack of a second face. I think the Ahsoka Tano was very good for the time. I think the decoration on the Leku was specifically ahead of its time, just phenomenally well detailed, perfect prints on there with very nice color. You have the green lightsaber, very nice torso print. Really is lacking a leg print and obviously a back print, but I find those things a little easy to overlook for the time, given how good the torso, face, and Leku is on this figure. Finally, we have R2-D2, who is devoid of any intricate detail. The torso is specifically sparsely printed. It's just a weird Clone Wars R2-D2, and overall, like I said, these figures are very unexciting. You're getting the main characters, which is good, but they aren't notably great versions of these minifigs compared to what we see in other sets. I'm not saying they had to be, I'm just saying they aren't. Getting to look at the finished model clean and up close again just fills me with great memories. And I can confidently say this Y-Wing build has stood the test of time, both as a playset and as a display set. Like, they could release this today and it wouldn't feel out of place. We'll work front to back on this beautiful Y-Wing, starting with the main blasters at the front of the Y-Wing here. Just a simple Technic design that you'd probably see on a set today. The underside of that is not quite as beautiful, as there's a lot of exposed Technic blue there that just doesn't really match the whole vibe of the set, but luckily that is on the underside. Now next you'll find the white striping that basically runs the entire length of the Y-Wing, and at an angle, I might add, looks quite nice there. It also has the yellow siding residing just beneath it. That is a really cool build technique to get it to hang off the side of the Y-Wing, and it may be surprising to some, but the windscreen piece on this set is printed. It's a very beautiful print. The yellow nicely matches the yellow of the brick. Now it's very much like early 2000s LEGO snowspeeders with the hinge at the back. It just pops right open and you have easy access to the cockpit. I never love when it's all studs on the bottom because the minifigure legs can become stuck down there if you push them down too hard. But Anakin fits very nicely in the cockpit. You also have a printed control panel that is very old at this point. It's really the only part of this set that I would say really shows its age. Everything else on this set feels pretty modern to me, but you can close that up with Anakin in there very easily. And just to show my point, if we try to pull Anakin out, oh, there goes the hairpiece first and foremost, because his legs are so stuck to the bottom, and oh, well, his legs didn't get stuck. That's a plus, but yeah, you'll have issues like that where the hairpiece pops off because the legs are just so tightly attached to the bottom. Now, in a traditional LEGO Y-Wing, there would be a turret up here that can spin 360 degrees, but on the Clone Wars version of the Y-Wing, there's actually a little bubble on top where a minifigure's head can peek out of, and you can pull this whole top section off very easily. It's got the gun at the back, and you're going to have a small area for Ahsoka to sit. You'll notice that same printed control panel, as well as a difference in the design for how the legs connect, this one opting for a half tile, half stud design, which makes it way easier to take Ahsoka out when you want to. And while there's not a ton of clearance around Ahsoka's Leku, there is just enough to make it work, and reattach the dome piece on top. Looks great with the cannons facing the rear of the Y-Wing. They can only rotate up and down again. There's no side-to-side movement there, but dang, does that look awesome to me. Now, the next section is clearly where R2-D2 is supposed to be placed. However, unlike most sets, you won't find any studs for R2's feet to attach to, but instead you find a Technic piece that's supposed to go in the bottom hole of R2-D2. It actually works very well and stops R2-D2 from falling out if you flip the Y-Wing over, but it's not a different design because it stops him from falling out better. It's a different design because it's an integration with one of the best play features of all time. The Y-Wing is a bomber, and many LEGO Y-Wings do have a bombing function. However, none of them have this bombing function. That there is one of the Mega Technic missile launchers attached to the bottom of the Y-Wing, and it's beautiful. To fire it off, you just push R2-D2 towards the rear of the Y-Wing, and it flies out. It's really cool. Now, given that the missile launcher is the bottommost point of the Y-Wing here, in the words of our favorite LEGO designer, it doubles as the landing gear, and there's also another point that touches the ground on the back in kind of a weird fashion. It's just very odd to see a hinge piece placed at a 90-degree angle to be used as landing gear. But that's how they did it, and looking at it from behind, it kind of looks like a face. This very greebled up section is the area that you can actually lift away from the rest of the Y-Wing. You'll find an empty area, but that is some ingenious storage for the lightsabers while Anakin and Ahsoka are in the cockpits, because you don't need a bomb dropping function that would otherwise take up this space and work through the center of the ship. You can use it for storage. Naturally, the build for the engines becomes a bit repetitive because you have to build 8 of these white stripes at the same time, but it achieves such a gorgeous look. It's totally worth the repetitiveness. Like, I don't get too all up in arms about a build being repetitive, and certainly to achieve this result, I'm all about it. As you saw earlier, the only 2 stickers on the set were these 2 red Republic logos, and they look nice on the side of the ship and definitely pop out in the color red compared to the yellow and white and gray for the rest of the ship. The back of the engines uses pink for the thrust color, and that looks very good on here. Again, much like the red on the sticker, it just contrasts super nicely. Now, I'm 26 now, so when I'm done with this set, it's going right into the display cabinets behind you, but I did originally buy a version of this set in 2010 when I was about 13 years old, and so I do find it important to talk about the structural integrity, as this would have originally been a playset to me, basically. And so lifting this up, you can see some of these white panels can kind of break off a little easily. There are 3 Technic pins holding in the engine into the center area of the Y-Wing, and they're reasonably strong, but they will break eventually if you just hold it by the engine, so don't do that. Hold the Y-Wing by the center area and you'll be much better off. But the part that I always really disliked about this Y-Wing, and it is by far my least favorite part about this Y-Wing, is that this piece here, while it looks really good and really adds to the shaping of the Y-Wing, it kind of completes the shaping through the engines there that they create starting here with that yellow. See how it flows all the way back? It's like really good for the color of it, but these just fall off and break super easily, and I always found that to be annoying. I still do, but given that this is going to be going in there, it's okay. Last thing, and I don't know if this will show up on camera, but I did notice while building some of the yellow tones of the plastic are different from piece to piece. I was a little bit disappointed by that. I don't know if that's something that's happened because of the age of this set, or if it was originally like that. I have no recollection of anything of that in 2010, so I'm just noting that it has happened now. Obviously, this was a sealed box, so discoloration is definitely disappointing to see. A couple of small things I don't like, and the now obviously bland minifigure selection aside, this is an awesome playset that looks great for display, and really the color of it stands out, kind of like that Bounty Hunter Speeder Chase set. Just something that really will stand out in your LEGO Star Wars collection, and if you have the means to obtain this set, whether it's new in box for $300-ish or used so you can save yourself a bit of money, I would do it. This is one that I would wholeheartedly recommend going out of your way to get, even though it's so long retired. I'm giving this one an exceptional 9.5 out of 10. I really hope LEGO remakes the Clone Wars Y-Wing soon, whether it's in this yellow color or the blue color of Captain Rex's. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, and you can check out more LEGO Star Wars content on the end screen now.